Hey out there, survivors, and welcome back to another news episode here on Let's Survive Paddy Plays. Now, the thing is, this is not going to be a standard news episode. I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do this week. On Tuesday, I did not post any content for the first time since I started the channel as an act of solidarity as part of the Blackout Tuesday movement. And I've seen a lot of my friends who have podcasts and the like are not posting. And I think it's so incredibly admirable and an incredible way to allow for certain voices to shine through in this moment. The thing is, I do not feel that my voice is particularly loud, but while I was originally I was going to follow suit and not post anything myself, I did not want to do that because what I instead wanted to do was use the tiny voice that I have to actually try and highlight some incredible black creators. So, and also the whole point of this movement is not to just do something because that's what everybody else is doing. So I wanted to shine a spotlight on some incredible black video game creators, and that's what I'm going to be doing in today's episode. I want to say that I stand with the Black Lives Matter movement. I am not in any way worried about saying that I care about human beings. I care about empathy and what the black community has gone through. Not only, you hear a lot of people say in the last couple of weeks, what the black community have gone through in their entire existence is horrific, and I am not okay with it. And I spent the last couple of days sitting down with my kids and trying to educate them about compassion and empathy and understanding what it means. What the black community are going through and what they've been through. I was raised in a family where I was always taught to treat everybody the same, irrespective of their gender, skin color, sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. And I am so grateful that I had that kind of upbringing. But that is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to bring incredible black video game developers to the forefront. So I've checked out a bunch of awesome games via a Twitter thread, which I will post in the description below, because I'm not covering everything in this video. I'm covering a bunch of what are my favorites out of this curated list of games developed by black people. So let's kick this off and get right into it. So the first game that I want to talk about is available on Steam. It's an RPG and it is really cool. It's got a 2D hand-drawn style. It's called Orion, Legacy of the Kori Odan, and it is gorgeous. It's incredibly well reviewed. It's a beautiful little game. The game is set in the city of Zama, and it's about a king and queen who are crowned, but they have to go on a long journey to find the true meaning of their heritage, their legacy. And to me, I've only played a little bit of this. I'm not going to lie. I grabbed it on Steam earlier, and I've just played a bit, but from what I've seen so far, it's amazing. It reminds me of what's that game where you played as the cat? It was a 2D. Dust and Elysian Tale. It reminds me a lot of Dust kind of gameplay wise, but yeah, it's stunning. It seems to have a lot of connection to black culture with the journey that the king and queen go on. And this is one that when it was brought to my attention, I immediately picked it up because it looked so friggin' good. As per always, and I'm not going to say it after every one of these, but you can presume it after this one, there will be links in the description below to go to Steam to check it out. So yeah, definitely check out Orion. It is very, 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 very cool. The next game on this list is Chrono Ghost, which is an amazing little indie kind of art game. It's very challenging, very difficult. This is also available on Steam. It's got a really unique and interesting art style. It's got a beautiful soundtrack. The controls are really, really nice, but it is challenging, but not challenging to a frustrating degree. You will fail a lot when you play Chrono Ghost, but if you persevere and keep pushing, you'll get through it. To me, there's some deeper meaning or metaphor within Chrono Ghost about what it feels like to be pushed back time and time again, only to just the feeling of reward when you finally do break through and make a difference. And I think just some of those themes are so important right now. I massively, strongly recommend Chrono Ghost, but I will say that if you are somebody who doesn't like hyper challenging little games, you may want to give it a miss, but I would still recommend checking it out. It's fairly cheap on Steam, and it is something very different and very unique. Now, this next game on the list is one of my personal favorites. I actually already had this game in my Steam library before I even went about looking up awesome games made by black developers to spotlight. And being totally honest, I didn't actually realize that it was made by a black developer, but it is phenomenal. It's called Treachery in Beatdown City. It's kind of a 2D classic beat 'em up brawler. It's got a hilarious story. It's really, really entertaining. The president, Blake Orama, is kidnapped, and it's up to you to fight ninja dragon terrorists to get him back. It kind of reminds me of Double Dragon and Streets of Rage and all those games that era. Fatal Fury, no, not Fatal Fury, that was the beat 'em up, like the straight up Street Fighters that beat 'em up. Final Fight, yeah, it's got all those kind of vibes, but it's got that very kind of classic NES looking visual style. So it also has bears a lot in common with stuff like River City Ransom. But I mean, straight away you will see that it definitely Double Dragon vibe to it. The funny thing is, while it might look like your typical brawler, I mean, it definitely, as I say, has that visual aesthetic. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes because it kind of uses elements of RPGs, tactics games, and even some wrestling games. So there is a lot of meat behind this game if you want a fun little beat 'em up that also delivers on kind of interesting gameplay and interesting mechanics, then Treachery in Beatdown City is the game for you, and it's well worth checking out. It's on Steam. It's priced super reasonably. I think it's about $17, but it is so much fun, and it's definitely worth checking out. And as I say, this is one that I had already owned before I made the decision to do this video. Now on to some games that are unreleased. So these are games by black developers that have not yet been released, but you can add them to your Steam wishlist or check them out yourself in your own time at your own leisure. So the first one that I want to talk about here is called She Dreams Elsewhere. This kind of reminds me a lot from looking at it of something like Undertale. It's got a really interesting kind of pixel art-y style. It's very unique looking. As I say, the only thing I could really compare it to would be stuff like Undertale. But yeah, it looks super interesting. There's a demo available on Steam, which I haven't actually checked out yet. I'm being totally honest with you again. I have just watched the trailer. But as I say, this looks very much up my alley as somebody that really enjoyed Undertale. She Dreams Elsewhere is a deeply personal game. It's a surreal adventure where you play as a character who's in a coma and cannot wake up. It's described as being easy to learn, difficult to master. By all intents and purposes, it definitely reminds me of games like Deltarune and Undertale. So if those type of games float your boat, there's a demo available on Steam, link below, go check it out, or you can just watch the trailer. I would recommend doing so and seeing if this might be the type of game that you'd be interested in, and if so, add it to your wish list and support black developers. Next on the list is a game called Aerial Knights Never Yield. Now, there is a version of this game just called Never Yield that is available on itch.io, so I will drop a link below for that. But the game itself, the Aerial Knights Never Yield version, is available on Steam to add to your wish list. It's releasing in early 2021. It looks super cool. It's got a very Jet Set radio-y look, but it plays something like Bit Trip Runner, seemingly. So I'm not a huge fan of these type of endless runners unless they're doing something very different or they have a very unique visual style. And this game definitely, with its kind of Neo-Tokyo-esque depiction of Detroit, it's very interesting, amazing soundtrack. Yeah, everything I saw about this game kind of tickled my fancy and made me very interested in checking it out. So I have now added this to my Steam wishlist. I did it again. How am I still doing it so many episodes in? But yeah, I added this to my Steam wishlist, and I strongly recommend you do the same. It's called Aerial Knights Never Yield, and it looks friggin' awesome. And the last game that I want to spotlight here, but as I say, not the last game by a long stretch, because hop over to that Twitter thread and check some of the other amazing games out. But the last game that I'm going to highlight here is SwimSanity, which looks beyond friggin' amazing. This is again made by a black developer. This is a 4-player co-op shooter. Definitely has a look and vibe of something like Pixel Junk Shooter on the PS3. Yeah, and it looks super fun. It's going to be available on the Nintendo Switch, consoles, and Steam later in 2020. It is available to add to your wishlist on Steam. The trailer and gameplay footage looks great. The animation style is stunning. And I believe there's people who have played it in early access or in a beta or something like that, because I've seen a lot of people posting on Reddit saying how good it was and how much they enjoyed it. So, I mean, there must have been an opportunity for those people to play it, unless they played it at an event like PAX possibly. But yeah, it looks like so much fun. It looks like... I'm not a huge fan of kind of twin stick shooters. They can be hit and miss for me, but this looks like one that I would love to play on Let's Survive together with my mates. So yeah, definitely check out SwimSanity. Add it to your Steam wishlist. If you are on console, just keep an eye out. I will once again add links below, so there'll be even the Twitter page for the developer, and go and follow it to stay up to date with what's happening with SwimSanity, because it looks like so much friggin' fun, and I think we could all do with some fun. As part of this episode, what I wanted to do was I wanted to highlight some black cosplayers and black of survival horror stuff like Resident Evil and Silent Hill and things like that, or black fan artists. I put a request out on Twitter, and it was a bit late for it. I only put it out because I record the news episodes on a Thursday. I should have presumably put this out earlier, but I didn't. That is entirely on me. But what I will say is that this is an open invitation. I do want to highlight and spotlight more, diverse work. So if you are a black fan artist or, cosplayer, please get involved. Reach out to me. It would be amazing if you would allow me to show off your work here on the channel, because I just love supporting talented people. And I really want to support and champion talented black people, because at this time especially, but not at this time. I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick of saying it as if like, oh, well, just because all this has happened, we have to do it now. No, I'm always here to support and champion the work of incredible black people. So please get involved. Reach out to me on Twitter. It's at @LS_PaddyPlays, or on Facebook.com/Let's Survive Paddy Plays. You can get involved, be part of the conversation. I want to do what I can to... I don't want to say amplify your voice, because as I say, I don't have a particularly big voice, but add to your voice and help you get your work out there. That is all I want to do with this channel, is help and support talented creators and from diverse backgrounds. As we don't have any fan art or cosplay this week, I do want to take a few minutes to highlight two incredible voice actors that I've been championing quite a lot for the last month. The first is Sterling Suleiman, who is the voice of Tyrell Patrick in Resident Evil 3 Remake. I absolutely adore this incarnation of Tyrell. I will say that one of the things that I maybe disliked a lot about the original Resident Evil is that they treated Tyrell as very much a throwaway character, and we didn't really get to learn much about him or anything like that. So one thing that I do give the Resident Evil 3 Remake major kudos for, and I've been saying this all the time since I played it, is their handling of the Tyrell Patrick character, and especially Sterling Suleiman's performance as Tyrell. Tyrell is a member of the UBCS group, same as Carlos, Mikhail, and Nikolai, and he is kind of like Carlos's partner. Tyrell and Carlos kind of work together quite a bit throughout the game, and Tyrell just seems like an incredible guy who is doing the best he can in this terrible, terrifying situation. And he's just a fantastic character. The realization of his character by Sterling is phenomenal. So Sterling is on Twitter. You can follow him below. I'm not sure if he's very active, but what I would say is definitely keep an eye on what this voice actor is doing, because he did such a great job in Resident Evil 3. He's somebody that I would absolutely kill to have here on Let's Survive interviews, because I do think his performance was world class, and that's no exaggeration.
Ballsy motherfucker.
And speaking of world class performances, that leads me to the next person that I want to highlight here, which is John Eric Bentley. John Eric Bentley is the voice actor for Barrett in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and he is a wonderful human being. I've watched a bunch of interviews with him. I've watched him on podcasts and streams and everything, and he is just an incredible, wonderful, kind human being. And not only that, he brought Barrett to life in such an incredible way. I actually reached out to John on Twitter and thanked him for his portrayal of Barrett. Phoebe, my youngest daughter, who is 4, he is her favorite character in the game. She adores Barrett with all of her heart. I absolutely love that we have this character who is a strong black man who is fighting the power. He is fighting back. He is not accepting what is happening in the world. He will not accept, basically the oppression that has been put down on the people of the slums by Shinra and what Shinra are doing to the planet. And Barrett is the kind of the figurehead of this rebellion and the leader of Avalanche, and he's such an incredible, powerful, but then he's such an incredible, powerful character, but then you see him with his daughter Marlene, and just their dynamic is so sweet, and he's such a kind, loving, wonderful father. I just think that this portrayal of Barrett in Final Fantasy VII Remake is beyond perfect. John Eric Bentley brings something to this character that I don't think was ever there, and Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time. But I don't believe that the Barrett that we experience in Final Fantasy VII Remake is even remotely similar. Like, I think that the one in the original Final Fantasy VII was great, but was definitely a little bit more of a comic relief character. Whereas the one in the Barrett played by John Eric Bentley in the remake has his story, and his performance will tug at your heartstrings so much. There's a section involving the Sector 7 plate and something that happens, and Barrett's performance just absolutely tore through my core. And that's all down to John Eric Bentley's voice work. John Eric Bentley is very active on Twitter. He's very vocal about his support of the Black Lives Matter movement, rightly so. And I think he's an incredible human, phenomenal voice actor, and he's done something with a character from one of my favorite games, who I always loved, but he has just elevated that character to another level that I didn't even know was there. And to me, he should be beyond super proud. So that is it for this week's show, guys. As I say, this is not really a news episode, but it is. It is a news episode highlighting and supporting the incredible work of phenomenal black artists as developers and as voice actors, among other things. And I just really want to create a place here for, black people and people of color in general, of all races, and people, of all sexual orientations. It doesn't matter. I just want to reach out to interesting people in this community and talk about your love of, not specifically survival horror, definitely survival horror focus on this channel, but like gaming in general, so please, if you want to get involved, you want me to spotlight something, I am here. I am ready and able to, showcase whatever content you want me to check out, because that is why I'm doing this. I'm not even joking. The reason I started this channel is I want to champion and support the works of people, and that at this moment, I feel that we need to be championing and supporting black voices, in my opinion, above all else, because there is something happening in the world right now that has needed to happen for a very long time. And I, for one, say, all I'm going to say to close this video out, I normally say, let's survive together and peace out. There's only 3 words. There's only 3 words that I can close out this with, and I'm not pandering, I swear to you. Like, this is from the heart. This is me. Black Lives Matter. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and please stay safe. Also, there are a number of amazing charities that you can donate to support the Black Lives Matter cause. I personally supported the George Floyd Memorial Fund, but there are a bunch of them. So what I'm going to do is, once again, I will put links down below where you can check out some of these amazing charities and donate, because action is the most important thing right now. Obviously, we do need awareness and we do need people talking about this stuff. But really, if you have a couple of quid to spare, if you can donate to some of these causes, it goes a hell of a long way. So yeah, this is just kind of a final closeout to say, please donate and help this cause to grow, because the world needs to change, and it needs to change right now.